There's another level where you can look at, we figured out how to take these raw inputs of testimonial or transcript from a video, whatever. We take that. And we know if we were doing it manually, what we could do
we
to
know what that
process it
process
in the
looks like.
conversation. And we
Say
figured it out.
quality.
Maybe we've dialed in our prompts. That's the first step. But the step after that is once you've dialed that in, now you can actually make it so that software is doing most all of that. And all it needs is the raw input at one end. And then at the other end, you get all the outputs. And you still, right now especially, you always want a human to take a look at stuff and make sure that it looks good to go at the end. But instead of having to also have the human press the buttons in between, now you've got somebody at the back end being able to really look at something that 99% of the work has been done, and they're doing a final check, a final polish, changing out maybe a word or two here. Welcome back. On today's episode, we are going to be talking with Charlie Madison about really some of the results that he's gotten leveraging some of these AI principles and really what he's able to achieve to make his team empowered with AI, to be able to systemize and make more streamlined his operations, and how that's helping him ultimately to grow more effectively, more profitably, leveraging AI in the process, and how the stuff that we've been doing together has really unlocked some powerful things for him. So Charlie, welcome back. How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm excited. I'm back in my Hawaiian shirt. So
I love it.
That means today is a money day, and that's good.
Yeah, I'm always a fan of light on dark. There's like a black backdrop to the look of your shirt right now, but with the colorful flowers and stuff on top of it. I'm always a fan of that sort of style. It makes me think of Bob Ross occasionally does black canvas paintings, and just the way that they look, they always pop more.
It's funny the way that the Hawaiian shirt started. Me and my friends from high school and our fantasy football group, we go away for the draft, and one of the guys was like, "We should all get Hawaiian shirts and wear them to dinner one night." So it's a bunch of 40-year-old guys going to dinner, being goofballs. And I wore it and I was like, one, this looks really good on me. Nice tan. The other, this is really comfortable. And I came back, I was like, I just want to wear Hawaiian shirts every day of my life. This is great.
Love it. There's the story. You heard it here, the story of where the Hawaiian shirts came from. Let's go ahead and dive into it. So real quick, I just want to give people a bit of a 1 to 2 sentence sort of idea of what has working together and the way that we approach AI and building out these AI systems. How would you describe where you are now? What has it unlocked for you in your business?
Laser target how to get AI to give me the result that I'm looking for, compared to just almost like that cat just bashing the keyboard for 4 or 5 hours. Be like, why will you not give me what I'm looking for? Why aren't you giving me this cat food slop? Now I really have the ability to say, all right, this is the one specific thing I'm looking for consistently. And it gives me that.
Yeah, so let's dive into that. Right now, you feel like you have consistency with AI. You feel like you have the ability to unlock exactly what you need. Tell us a little bit more of the story and the context. So what do you do with referrals while you sleep? That's where you're deploying a lot of these strategies, right? What do you do there? Where does AI fit into the overall mix? So let's start with there, and they'll go into kind of what the struggles were looking like before figuring this stuff out.
What we've done for 4 years now is we take what we call duo videos like this, and we'll use the transcript and we'll run that as a promoted content for our clients to their sphere. And we've used AI to read through the transcript and create a description. That was something actually we probably just added 18 months ago because it took a while to figure out how do we create a transcription that actually sounds like something that our clients would talk about to their people. And then we take images and testimonials from theirs and we run that as promoted content to create similarity, consistency, social proof. And one of the questions that we've gotten over and over is the testimonials are great, but there needs to be a call to action. And sometimes we get the videos, a lot of times the videos are much more educational versus salesy. But a lot of times our content, the description would be more salesy. It would be more like, hey, turn this into a Facebook ad. But really, the whole goal was to build your authority, not to sell someone. On the testimonials, they wanted more of a call to action. And on the videos, they wanted it to be less salesy. They still wanted a call to action in there. And wait, there's one more thing. If you call now,
Right.
Two squeegees.
It's all in that nuance of really figuring out. Most people find this. It's really good at getting you like past the blank page. It's really good at giving you something in order to get some sort of idea to go off of. But where I find people, just like you're describing, finding the most difficulty is when you have clarity around what you need it to do, getting it to actually do that consistently and reliably. What are the pieces that get you to get it to happen? Because you're right, you'll notice you use the wrong word and it goes way into this end of, but wait, there's more. Or it looks like preteen girl is vomiting emojis all over your copy, which isn't typically what you're looking for. So getting past that and getting to the point where it knows the right blend of how much emojis or not. Do you want any? Do you want a few? That sort of thing. Subtle differences of a soft call to action versus more of that really direct, we're going direct to this thing. That makes sense. So as you were figuring out we needed to change and dial this in and really get it to do what we were looking for. So what happened next? What'd you figure out from there?
There's one major problem. We wanted to be able to, the problem with the testimonials, and then the other thing, we wanted to be able to take one of the long duo videos and cut it into little pieces. We could have shorts, 30 to 90 seconds. And the biggest problem is with the testimonial or the short, the output on that was just so generic because AI didn't have any context. It really was like regurgitated cat food. It was just so bland that it would almost be better to post the video without a cat. And anything that it gave for a testimonial was just, it almost had to be two separate things.
Right. Makes sense.
And just recently, one of the biggest things you showed me, really within the last few weeks even, was the projects through Claude. That right there is a game changer. The fact that everything you do is targeted on pulling out my spark of humanity, like my unique version of events, my unique view on things. So all of your prompts and guidance are based on that.
Right.
And with that, the other huge thing is all of the context that you create up front so that I can give AI, even if I give my short testimonial, it doesn't matter because it's got a lot of context about me. And so it can take the little clip, but it can take a long transcript and find what are the unique pieces of information that I mention in this, and the way you pull out all the different metaphors. And you can take one long conversation and really convert it into 30 days worth of poignant, unique, specific content. The fact that you've got the marketing mind as well as the AI engineering mind, and you understand how they work together. Did that answer your question?
What I'm hearing that you found helpful and useful in being able to connect this. So it speaks to a couple of the things. And really, one of the things that you're talking about is an unsaid thing, but I think it's worthwhile for us to mention, which is I think a lot of the time when people are struggling to really either make AI outputs work or to make it do much for them, it's often when they don't have a clear point of view or expertise that they're leaning on. There's a false assumption that I can not be like some level an expert in what I'm looking to achieve, and AI will shore up all those gaps for me. Now, it can help. There's this interesting balance, but you building out this process, it's informed by years of experience of running the same thing manually. You are using AI to take a proven process and leverage it further, amplify it. So it still is based around your experience in the world, your proven processes. Note that all of what we're talking about, the only reason why it's even worth bringing AI into the fold on this is that the ideas have been tested and the ideas are proven, that you are now looking to take this tested, proven process and then scale it effectively leveraging AI. And so doing that brings with it some problems, which is AI doesn't have your expertise. It doesn't know what you've learned about what works and what doesn't, what sort of messaging actually resonates and aligns. It also doesn't know much about who you are, who your clients are, what the goal of each piece is. And just like if I hired somebody off of the street right now and brought them in, even if they have the world's knowledge of the overall concepts, they're not really going to be able to do work in my business unless I at least tell them some things like what my business is, who we serve, what the goal is of the work that they're doing. They need some context in order to actually achieve anything resembling a solid output, even if they're the smartest person in the world. And so what you're seeing essentially what I figured out is like, how can we do some of this work up front to say, what do we need to document? What do we need to figure out in advance? What do we need to make sure that we can provide the context so that this really intelligent assistant is able to help us because it's informed now on how to do so correctly. So you're seeing where we got a couple of things. You already have expertise. Now we're trying to take that expertise and make it replicatable, leveraging AI and really bringing in all the context that this AI assistant needs in order to actually achieve the results that you have a clear vision for. And there's a little bit of a back and forth. Sometimes maybe your vision is clarified through the work, and so you don't always start with a completely clear vision, but there's proven results and a consistent process and a desired outcome. And figuring out, like, the way that I think about that is, what is the DNA of what we do? What are the aspects that are important? But also, what's the DNA of what makes the way that I talk about something unique? That makes somebody else, the way that they talk about something unique, right? Because you want to bring that flavor in. We don't want our posts, our content, our marketing, the tools that we put out, we don't want them to sound like a vague consensus of the entire world. Otherwise, we stop standing out. We want them to sound like what makes us unique and what draws people to our point of view. And similarly, you're doing this on behalf of clients, so it's just as important to do it there as well, where you've got people that are trying to put their point of view out into the world, and you need to figure out how to capture that and get it back out into the world as well. And so this process of breaking out that context, knowing what pieces are important or not, what to provide AI, that you found that helpful for getting that consistent result. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that's it. How to get that consistently. And one example, this is something that hasn't been solved yet, but I actually took a testimonial and it created this great output. And I don't know what happened, but I cannot find the prompt that I used to create this. It's like the perfect testimonial and post. And right. I have tried to recreate it and it's not been good. Having access to you, I'm going to send this to you. I've been fighting it this weekend. I fought for 2 hours. Like, how can I recreate this with my team member? And so it was my 2 hours. It was Wenzel's 2 hours. And sitting here, I'm like, oh, I'm going to send this to you and be like, hey, I don't know where my prompt is, but how can I get this again? Again, I'm pretty good at AI. I'm pretty good at tech. And you're just the AI whisperer there in a lot of ways. And I think that leads me, in a way, the most important thing is, first, how do I do it consistently? But then how do I automate it? That's really why I pay you, is the ability to, how are these prompts organized? How is it automated? Because I could have people walk through it, but you've got some really cool ways to automate this at massive scale, ridiculously affordable compared to HR headaches and hiring people. And so that's where I can really take what I do and do it to more people and even charge more because it's massively more valuable, because it's a higher quality. And that's what I'm really excited about. I'm able to do these things that my clients have been asking for 12, 18. Some of these things they've been asking for 3 years, and I just haven't found a way to do it at a price point that I want to keep my software at, and without a lot of HR headaches and all of that. And so now it's unlocked, and that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that makes sense. And you're right. There really is, just like I mentioned, right? We start with our expertise, and from that expertise, we leverage AI to make it able to be done more scalably. But similarly, there's like scaling the scale. There's another level where you can look at, we figured out how to take these raw inputs of testimonial or transcript from a video, whatever. We take that, and we know if we were doing it manually, what we could do to process it in a conversation with, say, Claude or ChatGPT. We know what that process looks like, and we figured it out. Maybe we've dialed in our prompts. That's the first step. But the step after that is, once you've dialed that in, now you can actually make it so that software is doing all of that. And all it needs is the raw input at one end. And then at the other end, you get all the outputs. And you still, right now especially, you always want a human to take a look at stuff and make sure that it looks good to go at the end. But instead of having to also have the human press the buttons in between, now you've got somebody at the back end being able to really look at something that 99% of the work has been done, and they're doing a final check, a final polish, changing out maybe a word or two here. Occasionally, these systems, sometimes they completely crap the bed, and so the output needs to be completely redone. But what we look at is it's like, okay, maybe that's 1 time out of 10, and yet you got those 9 times in the span of 5 minutes that normally would have taken somebody hours. And it's not too big of a deal to be like, all right, let's retry that one. And then most of the time that one comes back fine after that. And honestly, what I love is, depending on where people's skill level is, most people aren't even doing the first step. They don't even have that clarity around, how do I take this and essentially be able to either put a VA that's maybe less familiar with the specific, they're not a great copywriter. Like, that's not their skill set. But being able to take somebody like that and really empower them with the ability to operate as if they were, because you already know what you're looking for. You already know those outputs, like the way that things need to be processed. And it really allows you to really like go back to the work of what's being described in the E-Myth of, you spend more of your time working on your business rather than in your business, that you're able to really build out systems that you perfect the system once, and then it could just run. And then from there, you could take it a step further and figure out, how can I leverage this even further, leveraging software and stuff to make it so that somebody doesn't even need to copy and paste all these different things. It's literally just done for them. And that's super powerful. So now that you've gone through that and you've got that clarity and you're in those stages of working on not only continuing to refine your prompts, your strategies and whatnot, but also building out some of that scale. Now that you've gone through that work, what do things look like now? What's the difference in terms of things were inconsistent before, they're consistent now? What does that look like in terms of time, headache, output, all of that? What does that look like?
Now I can actually build a consistent system. Before, I could not build any kind of consistent system. Everything was almost like having an employee throw down a bag of Jenga and just keep doing it until it lands perfect. There was no system. It was just like, let's try over and over, or let's just be okay with okay result. And there's places for both of those. Now I can actually build a great reproducible system. And the better my product is, the more I get referrals and the more it really sells itself. I've been testing this out for myself, and we talk, we laugh. I spend the majority of my time on referrals while you sleep. I am trying to get out of residential real estate, but I test referrals while you sleep on myself, and I've got more clients than I've had probably in 2 or 3 years since testing this the last 12 weeks. Because I'm really, what I'm able to do, I'm able to create a Gary V type presence really, really inexpensively. And on autopilot, without a marketing team, without all that. And the thing is, that kind of presence makes a difference. Like, it works, it helps. And so when we discovered Duo videos, it really 10x the result. This feels like the next 10x in the result. And as we automate that, it gives us like one place that we can improve, and it improves for everyone. So it's really exciting. It's fun. It's enjoyable. And it's nice because I love it when a machine can do the job, because then, even though me and you, we've got a course on hiring VAs, we know how to hire people. People get sick. Machines don't. People are variable output. If you program the machines right, they don't. That's what I love about being a programmer, is I can do 100 times as much as an army of people through the program. And so to be able to leverage AI to really publish people's humanity and bring them clients that are compliant clients, that know who they are, want to work with them, are willing to pay them, that's really cool.
Yeah, like some of the things that stand out to me about that, these are some of the things that I've seen true, not only with you, myself, the people that I work with, but 10x. Sometimes that 10x is in terms of, sometimes it's profit, sometimes it's growth, but sometimes you can offer at the same price that you currently are, 10 times the value to your clients, making them stick around that much more readily. And what you're describing is being able to produce similar outputs as $70,000 a month team for hundreds of dollars across your total book of business. And It's really powerful when you start seeing like the extent of it, because this is the part that I think people are missing. Sure, AI is definitely, AI is replacing inefficient people. It's replacing that aspect, but humans are still very present in the process. Your unique point of view, your unique processes are required to really get good results out of these AI systems. And then further, like what the work that you're doing, you're not creating AI clones of people that are thinking for them. You're taking these people's spark of humanity and putting it into the different forms and functions that allow more people to consume it effectively. But it still starts with that unique positioning of who they are, and really down to literally like each of the posts, each of the testimonials, each of those things. They are created from somebody's unique way of thinking about something, saying something, and then taking that, but leveraging it so that what starts as an audio can readily become written. What starts as video becomes long form, becomes short form, becomes written, becomes all these different things, but in a way where it's actually good, because we've had that for a while. There's lots of tools that have been able to take a long form video and chop it up into a bunch of garbage clip. We've had that for a while, right? So this concept isn't new, but what's new is that because of the way that these large language models work and generative AI functions, when you tune them correctly, you can get them to actually do that well. So you get the scale, but you get it done well. And it's not perfect, but it's 90 to 99% of the way there. And in some cases, that's all you need. The minor imperfections are okay, because let's be honest, people aren't perfect either. There's typos, there's I know of somebody that mentioned publishing a book with the wrong author's name on it, or without the author's name on it, or forget, you hear things like that. Humans make mistakes too, right? It's not like we're dealing with perfection. But yeah, that consistency and that scale, and this thing will work. It doesn't get sick. It isn't kept up at night by its new toddlers that won't sleep for 5 hours in the middle of the night for some reason. May or may not have direct experience with those kinds of things.
You've heard rumors, right?
Yeah.
Rumors on the street. And a couple of the cool things, it's really cheap now.
Right.
And it's getting cheaper.
Right.
And it's really good now. And it's just getting greater.
Right.
And so to be able to be here now, we're really on the cusp of being able to exponentially grow through compound interest. The reason that we're here now is because a year ago, I was locked side by side with learning this stuff. And the truth is, what we were doing before worked really well.
Right.
This just blasted out of the orbit, though.
Yeah, and what's interesting to me, I think this is the thing that people are missing. The systems do keep getting better, and it will become easier over time. I expect that some of the work that we do now to get good results, it'll start becoming less and less necessary, hopefully. But here's the thing that people miss. If you wait until it's at that point, your competition will have people like me and people like Charlie who are already there and who are already seeing when those things get easier. And they're not going to have the learning curve. Now let me leverage this. It's going to be as easy as, oh, this just got cheaper. And oh, this step just got removed, rather than trying to start from scratch and figure out how to actually implement this in your business. And so this is the thing that people are missing. This stuff isn't happening in a vacuum. People are out there leveraging it. And if you wait, sure, it'll be easier. But guess what? It'll also be easier for everyone else. At the same time that it becomes easier for you, it's easier for everybody. And so waiting on this makes you risk being at this point where you can be leveraging it right now to get ahead and gain an advantage in the marketplace. If you wait, it'll either A, not be an advantage anymore and will just become what's expected, or B, it won't matter because the people who leveraged it to get an advantage capitalize on enough of a business that it's hard for you to carve out your own zone of the market. And so when we look at things like this, it feels very much to me like a wave, the wave that's coming in. And you either ride it and get taken along with it, or you wait and you let it pass you by, but you're still ultimately going to have to find a wave to ride. Or you're paddling in, and that's going to be a lot more work. So there might be some level of further opportunities coming into play that make it easier, but don't wait, because as it becomes easier, it comes easier for everybody. So I love that, like, you are the kind of person that's on the forefront of this and getting those results as a result. The thing that's powerful is you're able to scale your results without having to scale your team, or you're able to 10x your results with 1/10 the team that used to be required. Most typically, just like you've done, I don't think either of us have been like, I'm going to fire this employee and replace them with AI. Because when you find somebody who's a good fit, hold on to them for dear life and figure out the way to leverage that. But what you could do with this sort of thing is that now that great fit person who's like wonderful on your team, now they could do 10 times as much without 10 times the hours. They might actually work less hours, but still achieve more. And so you're effectively able to scale your team without having to scale your team. You're able to get both. So anyway, that's part of what's so powerful about this. But go ahead.
Yeah. And I was going to say, the thing is, this stuff's hard, especially while I'm running my own business. Me and you, we talk about what's my sales system, my marketing system, HR, like all, and then to add this. And I'm a techie person. I'm a programmer. And what's cool, no offense, but you're my easy button. You literally make it easy. You've got that ability to, like, one, you're there already. You've gone down the rabbit hole so that you can show me the 5 or 10% that actually is effective, and it's enjoyable and it's good. And you can point it directly to, hey, here's how you can use it. And I've seen you in action, from the email autoresponder that you created when I did the webinar with Kevin and Fred, and the soap opera sequence, to all these different things. That's what's cool. I would have been so far behind. Truthfully, even as much as I love AI, I would have been so much further behind. And I know that because the more that we work together, I'm able to create these exponential leaps that gets me right, here on this cusp where, man, now like this whole new world opened up to me.
Yeah, thank you. It's really interesting to see. One thing that I'd point out, so you are in a zone that not everybody is, where you have a really good understanding of what is possible. And you fairly intuitively understand, if I've got these things, I should be able to make this result happen. And a lot of what we've been able to do together is I'm able to connect what you know is possible into how do you actually make it happen. Some people, that's not the case. For some people, they actually need a little bit of help with something that's slightly different, which is being able to sort out what is actually possible compared to AI is exciting, but what is practically doable versus what's not. Because there are things right now, they're outside of the realm of what is readily doable in a situation, right? That just because AI might solve it someday, we may not be there yet. And I have found for some people that aspect, while you have a fairly natural, intuitive result for it, I found that other people also find it valuable just to be able to have clarity around, oh, this is doable with AI right now, and what's still on the horizon versus what is readily doable right now, and what systems can we use right now. I've always appreciated that about you, that when you ask a question, you tend to already have a good understanding that it's doable. So what would you say, you mentioned being able to turn the inconsistency into consistency and being able to leverage working together to have that become the easy button. What would you say your biggest takeaways, that if it weren't for working together, you don't think that you would be where you are, that you would have been able to achieve certain aspects? What does that look like?
I would have given up on a number of things that I've got. It is frustrating. It's like having a puppy that won't listen, because I tell it to do this, it won't listen. I just shared Saturday, I settled for a somewhat okay solution, but it's frustrating, exhausting. I've got other stuff to do. But to be able to send you what I'm looking for, like a short loom, and you can look at it and there's, just do this. And now it works. And because I didn't give up, because I've got this one, then it made the next one possible. I wouldn't be here. I would be still trying to figure out how to hire 4 or 5 more people versus we've got this thing in place. How do we communicate people what we're doing now? That's a much better place to be.
Yeah, love that. Because you're right. I think that is probably the difference. And part of what's informed my skill set and the way that I operate around this stuff is that if I know it's possible, I have a really hard time giving up on it. I get into a zone where it's, I will figure this out. I will do the research. I'll do that. And so the power is that all comes to bear in how we help people bring about these solutions, whether people just want to, like you said, push the easy button and get that direct help to install it, or whether it's more of just starting on the right foot from the beginning based on the hundreds to thousands of hours of effort and research that I put into building the systems that we already know how they work and operate. So that makes sense, because that's the whole goal. I'll leverage what feels like fun, feels like work to others, and the fun problem that I can't let go of is the thing that other people can't stand to even deal with. But yeah, I'm glad to hear that you're able to get those kinds of results, that working together has made implementing AI and actually getting that real world value out of it right now actually implementable. You're able to leverage it to help service clients and do that at scale and be able to rely on it and not be worried about it and all of that. So yeah, that's super powerful. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome. I thoroughly enjoy paying you.
Sounds good. So if you would like to become like Charlie and thoroughly enjoy paying me as well, you have the opportunity to check out what we're up to. ZachHammer.me is the best place to go. You could reach out to us on the contact page. If you shoot us a message, we can let you know the best option for you. We're working on a program right now that we'll be able to let people into, still somewhat unnamed. We don't have an exact name, but essentially if you want to be implementing AI into your business to achieve streamlined operations, build AI-empowered teams, and use that to skyrocket your growth. That's what we're working together on, implementing these systems, giving you all the tools to make that process easy, but also having enough of the help and community for you to be able to get the help that you need, because that's the reality with this. Isn't the kind of thing that I could just give you a prompt and it makes everything easy. You're going to need a little bit of help, and we want to be there to make sure that happens for you. So if you want to do that, if you want to dive into what we're up to, ZachHammer.me/contact, we'll get you connected to the best options right now. Thanks so much, Charlie, for coming on. We'll continue this conversation and continue sharing the good word of what's going on in the AI world. But thanks again, and until next time, we'll catch you folks on the next one.
Hire Zach.
Thanks for tuning in to the Real Estate Growth Hacker Show. Remember, done is better than perfect. To turn the marketing ideas and tactics you just learned into real growth for your real estate business, visit us at realestategrowthhackers.com. If you like this episode, consider sharing it with another real estate professional who could benefit from the information, or maybe you'd like to subscribe to the show to never miss an episode. You can leave a rating or review on iTunes with your biggest takeaway, helping this show to reach and help more people just like you. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next episode.